All righty. Up next, I would have been happy to watch Jay Lethal have a nice wrestling match, but we didn't get to see that. Trent is coming to the ring. Trent of the Best Friends, the Puddin' Gang.
I just want to point out to you, because we'll talk about the ratings later, this was the 9 o'clock hour they did this.
Yeah, it was.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, it was. They tune in at 9 o'clock, and here comes Trent. And Lethal attacks him on the ramp and beats him up and beats him all around ringside and throws him into everything and then rolls him in the ring, and the referee rings the bell to start the match. And Lethal has now been put in a position where he has to attack a job guy from behind to get an advantage. So they have a match. Old Muffin Top Taylor showed up at ringside. That's what I have to say to you. Sanjay and the Pinhead showed up at ringside.
To me or to Muffin Top Taylor?
To Muffin Top.
All right, we'll leave it in the show.
And then Danhausen came down and it was doomed anyway. Trent's not a bad worker. If I would have said I need somebody to put Jay Lethal over, give him 7 minutes, have a nice match, Lethal over with his finish 1, 2, 3, wouldn't have had a problem booking Trent. The attack beforehand, the miscellaneous comedy figures on the outside, the whole 9 yards, it didn't do anything for Jay Lethal, and Trent is beyond hopeless. So, at that point, Danhausen goes to curse the Pinhead, but that doesn't work, so he punches Sanjay in the nuts, and the Pinhead headbutts Danhausen, and then Lethal beat Trent with his finish. So one of their best talents actually on their roster is surrounded by freaks and comedy bullshit and needs help to beat Trent.
But wait, it gets worse.
All. But wait, there's more. So now here comes Tony Schiavone again with a microphone. Why didn't he just pitch him the microphone and say, you do it? I don't want to stand up. But there's Sanjay and Zippy and Lethal are doing a promo on the entranceway. And Sanjay, again, is too over the top. He's screaming. No credibility has ever been given to Sanjay Dutt on this program, that he's a legitimate force or factor in anything. And so he's just screaming, and it's too over the top. And he introduces Jeff Jarrett. Now the second week in the company, and Jeff Jarrett is now affiliated with all this comedy bullshit by association. Jeff Jarrett. And if anybody doesn't like Jeff, I don't give a shit. He's still a fucking name that people have actually heard of. And you're gonna, within 2 weeks of him showing up, he's involved with Danhausen and the Puddin' Gang and being represented by Sanjay Dutt with a pencil behind his ear. And putting over Jay Lethal verbally when Lethal just needed all kinds of help to beat a fucking job guy. Jeff Jarrett will make no difference in this program, on this screen, here or in this company, if he's associated with anybody here, opponent or friend, except for Jay Lethal, and it may be too late for that because they pretty much buried Lethal. He's a non-entity now, and nobody's going to take him seriously at this point. And then, just to make sure that it really sucks real big donkey cock, they make Jeff phony too at the end of this because, for whatever reason, they decided to show on camera, like they always do in every interview, one of the production assistants behind the camera wrapping Jeff up. And Jeff said, "What are you trying to do, wrap me up?" Didn't they do this bit like a month ago with somebody else? And they show the guy on camera wrapping Jeff up, and Jeff draws the guitar back and doesn't even hit him. The guy runs off, and Jeff chases him to ringside, and they go to the break. Phony as a football bat. So what? If he did hire Jeff for an office job, I assume Jeff is like, well, I'll take his fucking guy's money. But he's got to know by now that he will be a complete non-factor as an on-screen talent because this is completely ridiculous.
There's not a single thing that could be done to make Jeff Jarrett a factor on air. Fans do not want him in 2022 on this program, especially calling himself the last outlaw. All of a sudden, he's dressed in a different way, and he's got his cowboy hat, and he's the last outlaw. I don't think
he's changing things up.
You know what? I don't think anyone wants to see this. And
hey, you know what? I don't want to see him on camera either. I want to see him behind the fucking scenes being the head of talent relations to show Tony Khan how to keep the goddamn wrestlers in line. But if they're going to put him on the fucking program, since he is a better wrestler than 85 to 90% of the roster, and since he's a bigger mainstream name than 80% of the fucking roster, do something to get something out of him.
I don't think there's that. I mean, that's the thing. I think he drives people away.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious.
If these people will watch this fucking show, they'll watch anything. And Jeff Jarrett could have a better match with any main event talent in this company than any of the other main event talent in this company. He could have a better match with Danielson than anybody else. A better match with fucking
I agree with you.
Moxley than anybody else. A better match with anybody than anybody else. Pay him fucking $50,000 a week and say, just put everybody over from now on. Teach him something.
$50,000 a week?
Well, whatever. I'm just bring him out every week, have him do a 20-minute job for everybody on the roster. Everybody would pay him for it, and everybody on the fucking roster would be a better wrestler. And they'd have a better match than they'd had in their fucking life.
But it's not about the good matches. That's the problem. I think the way Jeff Jarrett's been used over
this
his
show
career,
isn't about good matches either. They don't ever have any, so let's teach somebody something.
I just don't think viewers will accept Jeff Jarrett. I think too much has happened over too long a period of time that as soon as he comes out, the fans that watch all the awful shit in AEW that we hate, like the best friends. I mean, look at what they think of them. They're being used at the 9 o'clock hour. The people who like that shit, even they groan when Jeff Jarrett comes out.
But they'll watch anything. You've just proven that. They're watching the best friends. They'll watch it because it's AEW. If they don't like it, they'll watch it to complain about it.
People had the same reaction this week that I had last week. As soon as Jeff came out for this thing, it was like WCW and TNA.
Yep. And I'm telling you, he ought to be running the office. But instead, they're putting him on TV. Well, if you're going to put him on TV, don't make him a fucking flunky. Try.
And I agree with you in terms of his talent in the ring. I don't think he would have the best match with necessarily everyone, but I agree with you about his talent and he's an upper echelon worker. However, his talent, his value to AEW is behind the scenes in whatever role that is. If they're going to do house shows and have him be a big part of that, that's something he could really help with. But he's not helping the on-air show.
I tell you what, that might be the best job in AEW, one behind the scenes where you don't actually have to go out and fucking show your face on that show and admit that you're a part of it.
Yeah, did we ever see BJ Whitmer before this week?
I think he was in a pull-apart a couple months ago.